1,000 years in the making. A millennium of work by hundreds of the greatest mages of the elf people. Webs of geomantic power spun within webs of geomantic power. Monstrously powerful spells layered upon monstrously powerful spells, built in a place that was already sacred to the god of wisdom and a font of awesome power. It is the greatest work of the elves. I think it will most likely endure after we have gone. I sometimes think that it will endure the wreck of the world, and that it was intended to do so. So Lady Malene spoke on the White Tower of Hoeth. Greetings and welcome to the White Tower of Hoeth. Today we'll have a look at the White Tower of Hoeth. The White Tower was built by the 6th Phoenix King, Belcaradris, known as the Scholar King. His reign would later be remembered as the Second Golden Age of the Elves. The tower's construction began in -679 IC and would not be completed until almost 1,000 years later in 497 IC. Only 2 years before Belcaradris himself passed. Belcaradris would later be buried in the foundations of the tower, and it is said that his ghosts haunt the scholars by aiding them in their research. Even before the tower was completed, only 400 years into its construction, a small town of mages and scholars had appeared around it. It was at this time that the order of mages in the service of the elven god Hoeth, for whom the tower is named, was formed. They called themselves the Law Masters. These Law Masters of Hoeth are skilled mages and warriors, intellectually gifted enough to find even the disciplines of the Sword Masters childishly easy. In the tower can be found many disciplines of art, magic, and war. Most scholars confine themselves to studying but a single path, earning their skill until perfection is achieved. Even amongst the rarefied ranks of elfkind, it is unusual to find an intellect capable of mastering an entire path, let alone show accomplishment in several. But it is not impossible. Such is the achievement that marks out a lawmaster from a mere scholar. The leader of this order is the High Lawmaster. The High Lawmaster is elected by the Council of Lawmasters and serves for life. The current High Lawmaster is Teclis, founder of the Imperial Colleges of Magic and giver of controlled magic to the humans. Before Teclis, there were 3 High Lawmasters. The structure of the tower itself is incredibly tall, likely the tallest in the world, piercing the sky like an enormous white spear. The walls of the tower are covered in arched windows, banners, and massive golden runes weaving their way up the spire. At the very top of the tower is a cupola, where the High Lawmaster resides, from where he can view the surroundings of the tower for several miles. It is, in turn, surrounded with flocks of white birds and prismated rainbows. At the very tip of the tower is mounted the sword of Belcaradris, absorbing the powers of the sun. In times of battle, Belaner, oldest of the Lawmasters, and second only to Teclis in power, wields this sword. The tower stands on top of a colossal shimmering black crag. Underneath the tower is a labyrinth of cellars and tunnels, filled to the brim with the shelves of the vast library. This library appears different for every person who enters, seemingly curated for each scholar. A mage could find anything from books more ancient than the race of man to maps of Slan Mage temple cities. It is within this library that the Book of Days, the collection of all elven history, resides. Surrounding the tower are gardens and farms which provide food and drink for the scholars in the tower. This area is used by some of the faculty as teaching areas, incorporating it in a way as a part of a greater campus. Beyond this is a seemingly endless emerald forest, where every tree is pulsing with magical energy, moving with the winds of magic rather than the winds of this world. The White Tower is by far the largest repository of knowledge in the world of Warhammer fantasy, far outpacing the Imperial Colleges. Hundreds of mages reside at the tower at any one time, engaged in learning and research amongst their peers. Here they learn high magic, the law of magic that uses all 8 winds of magic in harmony. Anyone wishing to become a student at the tower must create their own door by speaking their purpose. If approved, the walls of the tower will become fluid and form a golden portal. Once the student has entered, the door has become an arched opening, and the student might find itself hundreds of meters up, looking out of the tower. The tower is built of more than mere fabrics, standing at a strong point of magical winds of the great vortex. This gives the tower a magical strength far greater than its physical. The lands surrounding the lands of the tower are guarded by magical illusions and spells controlled by the lawmasters. Thus, only those the lawmasters permit to reach the tower may find the paths to it. Furthermore, it is said that those who come to the tower seeking power rather than wisdom will be forever lost in the spell mazes. Not even the lawmasters know where all those who are vanished by the wards of the tower go. For returning mages, however, the paths lie open, every tree filled with white birds welcoming them back. The tower does not rely purely on magic for its protection, however, but is guarded by the order of the Swordmasters. The Swordmasters are the pinnacle of elven martial arts, perfecting their combat and warfare skills over centuries. They are the agents and bodyguards of the Lawmasters and travel the world to do their bidding. None of the elves yearn for war as the Swordmasters of Hoeth, as this is the only time they get to unleash their full potential. Their skill on the battlefield even allows them to dismiss arrows mid-flight with precise strikes of their two-handed blades. These blades are forged underneath the White Tower and stand as long as an elf is tall. They are forged with bizarre precision and seem to weigh nothing when used by the Swordmasters. The edge of the great swords are enchanted so that the edge never loses its sharpness. Yet the Swordmasters are not simply brutes. Before attaining the rank of Swordmaster, they must be deemed worthy by the Lawmasters. They must see how sacred the uncorrupted life is and choose to protect it at all cost. The White Tower of Hoeth is the capital of Safri, one of the High Elven kingdoms. Safri has always been known for its excellent mages and lawmasters, even before the erection of the White Tower. The kingdom is the High Elven centre of learning and knowledge, and holds many vast libraries of magic. None, however, as large as the White Tower of Hoeth. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed your time at the White Tower of Hoeth, and hope to see you again soon. Until then, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know if there's anything you'd like to hear more about.